Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle. You will see me make a little bunny arrangement. They're pictured on the right, but at first I'm going to show you real quick how I made the riser for the arrangement. So I started off with a rectangular plaque from Hobby Lobby, and those little miniature chess pieces, those were also from the wood pile from Hobby Lobby. So I glued them on with some wood glue, and then since the plaque is relatively thin, I used my little nail gun to add some brad nails, and I used the home decor antiquing wax from Folk Art to stain the riser. So I just brushed on the wax, and then I used a baby wipe to wipe it away. I didn't want this riser to be too dark, so I didn't let it sit there for too long before I wiped it away. So there you see me just adding it, and after it fully dried, I did give the riser a light sanding just to make it nice and smooth. So here's your little Dollar Tree bunny. I'm taking off that raffia bow because I'll add a different bow that coordinates with the florals. So I place it there on my riser. I'm adding some tacky glue for a permanent hold, and I'm adding some hot glue for an immediate hold. And you see that I didn't paint the middle of the riser there with the wax just because it's going to get covered up. And if you've watched some of my videos, you know that I absolutely love using spray foam as floral foam. So when I prepare projects, like when I'm spraying candlesticks or containers or whatnot with the spray foam, whatever is left over in the can, I'll usually spray onto a piece of wax paper just to have some floral foam on hand, or some spray foam on hand for projects like this. So I cut it down with a serrated knife and just kind of size up the piece that I need. And I'm going in with some tacky glue and some hot glue, and I'm just attaching it there to the bunny and the riser. Actually, to the bunny, it will, the pieces of foam will get attached mainly using those floral pins. So I just showed you there. It's a U pin, and it's long enough to go through the moss, the spray foam, and into the bunny. So I add a little bit of hot glue to the prongs, and I just push it through everything. So I did use a couple of those just to place the moss and attach everything together. So once the foam is pretty much all covered up, I did go in with some moss and just added it to the base of the bunny on the back side. And I'll be adding some florals and greenery to there too. So I'm just starting off with my greenery. It's a boxwood from Michael's. And right now I have a cold, so I'm actually not going to talk too much. I'm just going to try to explain what I'm doing, but I'll play some music for you to listen for part of the video, just so I can give my throat a break. This arrangement will definitely have a front side and a back side, but it will look nice and filled in on the back side as well. So I'm just kind of spreading out my greenery, trying to cover up a lot of the foam. And now I'm going to use these yellow tulips. I thought these would be a nice choice for the spring and Easter season. So I'm just kind of spreading those around. And those tulips are from Michael's as well. So I'll play some music for you now, but stay tuned because I will be coming back for more explanations. Now I'm using these small blue filler flowers to introduce a new color. I thought the combination of yellow and blue would be a nice one. And it's one that I personally really enjoy. So these flowers, this is all I have left of this bush. So I'm kind of keeping in mind where I place them, how many I have, and this also has that nice like fern on it, and I put that into the arrangement as well. It just gives a nice wispy look that I really like. These white filler flowers are from Hobby Lobby. I tend to trim the stem into several pieces, but when I do that, then I have to make a little shepherd's hook just to keep the flowers from coming off of the main stem. So that's what you see me doing there with my needle nose pliers. I'm just making a little shepherd's hook so they can't be pulled out. And I like to add white just because it tends to lighten up your arrangement or your wreath. So a lot of the times you'll see me using white filler flowers. I'm going back to that boxwood greenery and I'm adding it to the back side of the arrangement. So I'm just adding some hot glue and just sticking them into the moss. So sort of in between the riser and the bunny. And that will just fill out nicely. So if you're looking at the arrangement from the back side, it still looks nice and full. I'm using this blue Swiss dot ribbon to make a bow for the bunny. So I'm just making a quick hand bow. I made one loop. Now I twist it in the middle to get the right side of the ribbon to show. I'm just measuring up my loops, making sure they're even. And there's just a quick, simple hand bow. I tend to do these if I'm just using one ribbon or if it's a small enough bow. Otherwise, I usually use my little bow maker. So I'm using a floral wire to secure down my bow. I believe this wire is 18 gauge and I get that at Walmart. So I'm just twisting the wire to secure the bow. And I'll twist the wire some more with my needle nose pliers. So you'll see here I trim the wires and then that leaves me just a nice pick that I can just insert into the bunny. So these bunnies are just foam, so they're very easy to work with. So there's my little pick and I'll add glue to it. So there's the glue and I'm just inserting it into the bunny. And I want to add those blue flowers into the middle of my bow. So I need to trim up the stem on that little bunch of flowers. And since I trimmed up the stem is now really soft. So what I do here is I take this little weeding tool, it's just got a pointy end on it, and I make a hole, like a little pilot hole into the bunny, right very close to the middle of my bow. And now I can stick that bunch of flowers into that pilot hole. So I'm just adding a tiny dot of glue and inserting my flowers. And I'm just wiping off at the excess glue before it gets too hard. Hey there, I'm just popping in because my camera stopped recording, but we didn't miss too much. So I had added the bow and I had added more filler flowers, the yellow and the white flowers there, and I had also filled in some in the back. So that's what we've got so far. And now we'll continue with this. Actually, before I could go in with that blue heather, I needed to add some more tulips because there were some holes that were just needing more of the yellow tulips. So if you've worked with these tulips before, they're in a bunch of 3 tulips. So I had to cut those apart, but when you cut them apart, that stem is way too soft to insert into the floral foam. So with the excess stems that I had that are wired, I just showed you one there, I glued that onto the tulip, and with some floral tape, I just wrapped the tape around that joint to just secure it down. So it's secured down by some hot glue and by floral tape. So now I've got a brand new tulip stem and I can insert it into the floral foam. So I'll do that throughout the arrangement, adding in some more tulips. And in between, I'm adding these blue heather just to add some more of the blue color. And I just really like the texture that the heather gives. I used some of the little yellow filler flowers just to add into the middle of my bow, and this brought the yellow up to the top. So I decided the bunny really needed a ribbon around its neck just to make it look like the ribbon is tied around his neck. But the ribbon itself was too thick. It was too wide of a ribbon, so I cut away the border of the ribbon where the wire is, and I used a little sewing hack to just fold in the ribbon and make it thinner. So this is, if you're familiar with sewing, this is how you make binding tape. You just fold the raw edges into the middle and you pin it down to your ironing board. So I pinned it down in 2 spots, and I ironed it down so the raw edges would be folded in towards the middle. So I just pulled and ironed all the way down until I had a ribbon that was much thinner and more appropriate for the size of my bunny. I pushed the bow out of the way, and I'm just going to add the hot glue and glue down the ribbon just little by little. Just go around the whole neck of the bunny to adhere it to the neck. So I wanted to thank you so much for watching this video. If you've watched this far, please leave me a blue heart emoji or a yellow heart emoji. And thanks for putting up with my voice here and not being able to explain as much as I would like, just because my throat is hurting. And I really would appreciate your subscribing to my channel. Any likes and comments really helps my channel grow. And I hope you enjoyed this and learned something new, and hope to see you next time, friends.